Welcome to the Horror Show. I'm Producer Dave.
I'm Cecil, Laird.
And Jaime and Fuego here, and we're getting together with someone who is camera shy at times, but this is one that we got him out to see. It is a crazy Turkish film called Baskin that did a one-night performance at Film Bar here in Phoenix.
This is obviously a subtitled Turkish movie.
Indeed.
So if you don't like subtitles and stuff, then
Might not be for you.
Strike one.
Yeah.
But given how great the trailer is and all these other things, a group of police officers unwittingly go through a portal to hell, in a way. And it is gory, graphic, it is weird, it's sometimes terrifying and sometimes really stale.
Tedious, yeah.
And I couldn't help thinking, and I'm going to jump off to whoever goes first on this, I couldn't help thinking through the movie, there are so many elements from different like American style horror films that were kind of like all layered into it, sometimes successfully and sometimes sexually.
Indeed. And there was some sexuality, or at least discussion of it. You have this young cop, he's like the rook cop, and then his almost like his stepdad is the chief, which is kind of funny because his parents are dead, and you get some backstory about him and the fact that he had this reoccurring nightmare that it plays in a little bit more so later on in the film, but you're at least introduced to the idea of this, that he's been tormented since childhood. This, and the one that you sympathize with. I guess he's the protagonist cop of this ragtag group that gets called to this creepy place where things are not as they seem. Don't they like come across a cop car that's already there, but then they're not sure if they even got a call or it was.
Yeah.
It was
okay.
very,
all right. I'll do
it.
it. I paid really good attention because I went into it not watching the trailer, not seeing anything else. These guys took me with them, and I was like, okay, I'll watch it. Now, I just want to make a quick side note that if you go on IMDb and look up the actors in this movie, not a single one has a picture on here.
Yeah.
So you're not going to recognize anybody in this movie.
No,
However, the acting was really good.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna summarize the movie by saying these characters at the beginning you kind of like. They're all kind of likable. One's an asshole. One's kind of like the Joker guy.
Yeah, one gets them kicked out of the...
They've got a good smattering of all of them.
Yeah, they get kicked out of the diner, don't they? Or they piss somebody off.
They're having a good, I don't know, maybe Turkish
breaks out.
Turkish police are, no different than American police.
Regular police,
So they go to this diner, and we've set up some things in the beginning, like you were saying, with the flashback to when he was a child and he lost his parents, and something going down, which, we're seeing a horror movie, we know it's going to be scary, so there's some scary stuff that happens at the beginning.
Right. Yeah.
And then we move into this phase where they're driving on the road, and they drive on the road for... seems like a little too long.
A
little too long on the road.
But the camaraderie made sense and believable.
And
the chemistry was
back
good.
and forth, right?
And I like the idea that they're almost kind of more like rural police. They're like driving from village to village.
Sure, yeah.
So it's a little bit more isolated. It makes more sense where they end up at the end of the film. So I felt like all that worked. And then we got to
kind of a crappy van too.
And then there was an accident. A little accident that sends them off the road.
And they hit something.
And so they find themselves with a group of gypsies, and there's a trade made, and whenever you make a trade with a gypsy,
no bueno.
They're going to this house,
right?
Yeah.
And they show up at the house, and the cop car is empty, the door's still open, ding, 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 and the 6 of them go inside, and they leave the new guy out because he's not feeling good.
Right.
Yeah, he's been feeling nasty since
so that's,
that gross meat got cut up.
That takes you about, in my opinion, to the end. Basically,
and that's where I started to
lose
lose
where the movie really
man.
starts.
Well, maybe that's where it really starts, but it just turned into a smattering of just almost like torture porn stuff, and that's where they started to lose my interest. I felt like the plot got really thin once they finally got there, and it turned into just wacky, random, bloody imagery as opposed to propelling as much forward for a story.
And that's the thing, you see in the trailer, in my opinion, the trailer ended up being better than the movie because you see in the trailer all these people likening it to Hellraiser or whatnot, and there was fleshy aspects that could be likened to Hellraiser,
and
but what Fuego
sexualism
said,
as well.
but what Fuego said is a valid point because there is no story once they arrive here. It's just them here sort of getting tortured.
Do they survive?
And then there's a little bit of story towards the end of the movie. Like in the last 5 minutes, there's a little bit more story, but
a little redemption.
But there's like a 40-minute block there where it's just like them getting tortured and violated
in various
and
fashions and orifices.
I think here's what I'll say. I think that there was an indulgency in that that was unnecessary. Like, they were trying to imitate other gory things, and they took it to levels that they felt they needed to do to compete with that.
Yeah.
As an art.
Well, the hostels.
But I will say this. It was creepy and weird and bad and good enough to keep watching for me.
Especially the cult leader.
Yeah, and I think it helped that saw it in the theater. Oh, we're going to get to the cult leader.
Okay, all right.
Oh, we're going to get to him. Because this guy will be showing up in American movies soon. I predict this.
He might be the next I'm the Captain Now transplant.
I mean...
I was reading something about no prosthetics either.
Yeah, I mean, that's
what made it so glorious and
authentic. Yeah. And, you know, I'm just going to make this fact up about him working in a circus. Or one of those freak show traveling things.
Probably.
Totally. And I'm pretty sure it doesn't speak English, so translate it.
Yeah.
But you were fantastic.
Yeah, the actor that played the cult leader was
babyface.
Exceedingly creepy.
The babyface.
Baby man. Yeah. He was truly creepy. He looks like
every
a
time he's on
Gandhi,
every time he's on screen, your skin crawls.
Yeah.
You look like a man.
And he's fantastic.
And it's very intimidating. As small as he was, he was still very intimidating.
Oh, yeah, and I think even more so because he was speaking a language I didn't. I needed to have subtitled. It added a bit more menace, the foreignness to it.
So we
like you're even more out of your element, like these guys obviously were.
Now I did notice. We should move into some of the other aspects of the film. I think the music. It was very regional.
80s synthy like cop throwback.
It was, but it had that Turkish flair to it.
Yeah.
It definitely had those twangs.
It was
and things
ethnic,
like that. Yeah.
And appropriately so because you're in a very specific area of the world, and it felt more rural, like you
Middle Eastern
earlier.
pop, a mixture with Euro pop. I mean, it's all really fun music.
Yeah,
to listen
I liked
to
it
because I don't know.
And then appropriately dark. When necessary.
When it needed, it almost went into dark synthy 80s territory at times too, like we've seen in other stuff lately.
But the thing I wanted to talk about the most was the effects, of course, the gore effects, which were great. Honestly, they definitely made good use of gore in this movie.
Yeah, I don't even typically get nauseated that often, and they succeeded in this case. So congratulations.
Yeah.
To this first-time director, no less. You know, this Turkish kid, he had a short film in 2013 that this sprouted from. So he essentially fleshed it out into a full feature and debuted at Toronto International last fall. And
Can ever know.
Yeah.
There you go.
Indeed. But it's already been sold, and it's finally actually hitting American audiences this month, March 25th.
Absolutely. So this review is going up actually.
Here,
this is going to go up a little bit before that.
Yeah.
I finally figured out what I want to say about the effects. So I thought about it for a second. Okay. This wasn't a low-budget indie film.
This didn't look like it.
This was on an international. This is an international film that was played for the 70 million people that live in Turkey. So, they don't have as large of an audience that goes to films. They still make big budget films, and this was definitely at least a $20 to $30 million film. So don't go into it thinking it's going to be a super low budget, even though it kind of looks like it's super low budget.
But it's the setting.
But that's the setting.
Well, I also typically don't make horror either. I mean, it's a very, very niche genre.
They probably don't spend the money that they spent on this one, and they try to make it more mainstream. Like I was saying, like there's half the movie that's really not horror.
No,
it's kind of like a creepy thing, and then the guy throws up, and why is he being sick?
It's a little bit like Red State, Kevin Smith's Red State. It started off as sort of a teen, typical Kevin Smith dick joke sort of thing, which this sort of started off in a similar vein, and then it moved into sort of a thriller territory where it's like, what's going on? What we can't figure out.
The fraud.
What's the deal? Why is the police car mysterious? Yeah. And then the third part of Red State was the horror aspect, where religious people start getting killed. And this one is when you're in hell getting tortured in horrifying ways.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting that way. It's not a constant tone through the whole thing.
Yeah. It showed its versatility. It was in some ways like 3 films in one, the way it was able to segue, but still do it believably. And I may not have liked the final third of the film as much, and it may have lost my interest a bit, but it was still effective in its gruesomeness, even if I felt like the plot was a little thin.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of not spoil the ending, because you don't want it spoiled if you're going to watch it.
You want to go see this one. But it's akin to some movies that we have reviewed on our channel.
Here's what you can say about it without spoiling anything. You say it has a decent ending.
It does.
It kind of
a satisfying ending.
There you go.
More satisfying.
I was going to say maybe more redemptive.
And I've actually found a lot of times when I watch foreign films that I kind of lose that sense of a complete story that they told or whatever. And I felt like I had that with this. I kind of got a really good idea of essentially what was the plot. I mean, you know, where this portal to hell came from and all that other stuff. I mean,
we don't need those
No.
explanations.
We just accept that this is what's happening. And I kept my interest through the whole film. And again, the effects were really cool.
Yeah.
There were some very unnerving deaths in this film.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Stomach
some
turners, like I
not
said,
so
man.
creative ones. So, you know, it was a mixture. It was a mixed bag.
It's a mixed bag.
But
if it sounds interesting and if you like the trailer, check it out. I mean, there's some odd parts. You know, again, I might not have
If you're
been
into goat
100%
woman
sold on
sodomy
it.
or what I mean, hey man, you know that's your thing. Dude.
You never know, dude. American Horror Story had Minotaur rape 2
Yeah.
seasons ago, so
Touche.
you know, like there's stranger stuff out there, and that was on FX, you know, on cable. So
I will put it on my scale, the Ash vs. Evil Dead scale of Dave's gore factor.
Ding ding. ding
Which,
ding, ding,
the
ding.
only factor you need to know is the only way to score a 10 out of 10 is you have to have a chainsaw death. And also a shotgun death doesn't hurt. So luckily this film had a
Bonus
shotgun
points.
death.
Bonus points.
So it scored a 9 out of 10.
nice.
No
All
Nine
chainsaw.
shotgun shells
Fair
out of
enough.
10.
It
How
was
about
good
that?
gore. And like you were saying, sexual gore too.
Sexual gore too. Sexual gore too.
Awesome. Yeah. Well,
And
that's
then-
That's where all the hell-
and
that's where all the Hellraiser
birthing
comparisons
gore.
came from.
Birth and gore. Oh,
Yeah, that was
okay.
horrible.
I didn't even
Great.
remember that.
All
Anyway.
right. Anyway.
That might be a good note. To,
That's a good way to send you guys
If you'd like some
away into the night.
flashbacks
Yeah.
for the rest of your life,
Go see
enjoy
this
this
one.
film.
Yeah,
So
just like that
it's-
rookie cop who had those horrible.
Yeah, lots of interesting stuff in this movie, you guys. So go check it out if it sounds interesting,
Yeah.
or check it out on VOD when it gets released. But that's going to do it for our review of Baskin. Again, special thanks to Monty Ozzy
Always, man.
for
Gracias,
setting up the
dude.
screening, and special thanks to Film Bar for hosting the event.
And you can find them at phoenixfilmbar.com and check them out.
Also, make sure you check out the International Horror and Sci-Fi Film Festival here in Arizona. They have a Facebook page where you can click a link somewhere down below.
Down here.
And it will
Absolutely.
take you to Lifetown, so make
Yeah,
sure
please.
to support them too.
Check them out.
Click down here, please. down here.
Quickly before he goes
But
further.
be nice, not like those people in Baskin.
So thanks very
Be
much
gentle.
for watching, you guys. I've been Cecil Laird.
I'm producer Dave.
Gracias, I've been Jaime and Fuego, and remember guys, I
Stay-
stepped on your toes.
It's okay. That's all right. All right.
I won't do it this time.
So
Stay scared!